My name is Jason, and for the longest time, I thought my marriage to Emma was perfect. We had no children, but we enjoyed a comfortable life together. Emma was always the center of attention at social gatherings, charming and vivacious, and I loved her fiercely for it. Our sex life was great, and she seemed genuinely happy. I never suspected anything was amiss. We met in college and married right after graduation. For the first few years, everything was like a dream. Emma worked as a marketing executive while I managed a chain of retail stores. We were financially secure, traveled frequently, and had a close-knit group of friends. I often thought about starting a family, but Emma wasn't ready yet, so I didn't push the issue. Lately, though, things had started to feel off. Emma became more irritable, often picking fights over the smallest things. She'd get defensive whenever I asked about her day, especially when I inquired about her new colleague, Alex. She'd dismiss my questions, accusing me of being paranoid or controlling. I chalked it up to stress from her demanding job, but deep down, I felt something wasn't right. Emma's behavior grew increasingly suspicious. She began working late frequently and had suddenly developed a keen interest in her appearance. She spent more time on her makeup and bought new clothes that I had never seen before. One night, as she was getting ready for another late meeting, I noticed she was wearing a new set of lingerie. My heart sank, and a knot formed in my stomach. She had never worn that for me. The following weekend, I decided to follow her. She had mentioned a work trip, but something about her story didn't add up. She left the house dressed casually, but with an air of excitement that I hadn't seen in a while. I tailed her discreetly, feeling a mixture of guilt and dread. She drove to a mall on the other side of town, parked her car, and headed inside. I waited a few minutes before following her. Inside, I saw her meet Alex, the colleague she had mentioned before. They embraced, and I felt a cold wave of realization wash over me. I was about to confront them right there, but something stopped me. I needed to know more. I needed proof. I kept my distance, watching them laugh and talk as they walked through the mall. They entered a clothing store and I followed them in, my heart pounding in my chest. They disappeared into the fitting rooms, and that's when I knew I had to act. Summoning all my courage, I approached the fitting rooms and heard muffled voices coming from one of them. My hands shook as I opened the door, and there they were. Emma and Alex, half-dressed, caught in the act. The look on Emma's face was one of sheer panic and guilt. Alex quickly pulled away, trying to cover himself, but it was too late. The damage was done. "What the hell is going on here?" I demanded, my voice trembling with anger and hurt. Emma stammered, trying to come up with an excuse, but there was no hiding the truth. She burst into tears, calling me crazy and accusing me of spying on her. Her hysterics only fueled my rage. "How long has this been going on?" I yelled. Alex tried to interject, but I shut him down. "This is between me and my wife." Emma finally admitted that it had been going on for months. She blamed me, saying that I was too wrapped up in work and that she felt neglected. Her words stung, but I knew they were just excuses to justify her betrayal. I left the store, my mind reeling from what I had just witnessed. The drive home was a blur. I felt a mixture of rage, sadness, and betrayal. I couldn't believe the woman I loved more than anything in the world could do this to me. The images of her and Alex together replayed in my mind, each one more painful than the last. When I got home, I poured myself a drink and tried to make sense of everything. My phone buzzed with messages from Emma, begging for forgiveness, but I couldn't bring myself to respond. I felt numb, as if my entire world had been shattered. The next morning, I woke up with a clear head and a heavy heart. I knew what I had to do. I couldn't stay in a marriage built on lies and deceit. I called a lawyer and started the process of filing for divorce. Emma pleaded with me to reconsider, promising that it would never happen again, but I couldn't trust her anymore. As I look back on everything that happened, I realized that the signs were there all along. I was just too blind to see them. If there's one piece of advice I can give to others in a similar situation, it's to trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Emma's betrayal taught me a painful but valuable lesson about trust and loyalty. It's been a long road to recovery, but I'm finally starting to feel like myself again. I've surrounded myself with supportive friends and family, and I'm focusing on rebuilding my life. To anyone going through something similar, know that you're not alone. It's okay to feel hurt and angry, but don't let those emotions consume you. Take the time you need to heal, and remember that you deserve someone who will love and respect you unconditionally. The first few weeks after filing for divorce were a whirlwind of emotions. Emma moved out and stayed with a friend, constantly bombarding me with calls and messages. She was either apologizing profusely or lashing out at me, blaming me for everything that went wrong in our marriage. I couldn't stand the emotional roller coaster, so I blocked her number. My family and friends were incredibly supportive. They rallied around me, offering a shoulder to cry on and ears to listen. I took a leave of absence from work to get my head straight. I couldn't focus on anything, and felt like a shell of the person I used to be. One day, while I was cleaning out some old boxes in the garage, I stumbled upon a stack of photo albums. Flipping through them, I saw the history of our relationship captured in those photos. College parties, vacations, birthdays, and our wedding day. It was all there, mocking the happiness I thought we had. The betrayal stung even more as I looked at Emma's smiling face, knowing now that she was capable of such deceit. I decided to visit a therapist. I needed professional help to navigate the emotional minefield I was in. Dr. Stevens was a calm and understanding woman who listened patiently as I poured out my heart. She helped me understand that Emma's infidelity was not a reflection of my worth, but rather her own issues. It was a tough pill to swallow, but slowly, I began to regain some sense of self-worth. A few weeks into therapy, I decided to confront Emma one last time. I needed closure and answers. We met at a neutral location, a quiet cafe where we wouldn't run into anyone we knew. Emma looked tired and distraught, a stark contrast to the vibrant woman I once knew. "Why, Emma?" I asked, my voice breaking. "Why did you do it?" She looked down at her coffee cup, avoiding eye contact. "I don't know, Jason. I felt neglected, and Alex was there, paying attention to me. It just happened." "It just happened," I echoed, my anger rising. "You don't just accidentally cheat on your husband, Emma. You made a choice." "I know," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I know I messed up. But can you honestly say you were happy?" "We were drifting apart, Jason." I shook my head, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. "Maybe we were, but cheating wasn't the solution. We could have talked, gone to therapy, anything but this." Emma reached out to touch my hand, but I pulled away. "I'm sorry," she said. "I wish I could take it back." "Sorry isn't enough," I replied, standing up. "It's too late, Emma. We're done." Walking away from that cafe, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I finally had the closure I needed. Emma's infidelity wasn't my fault, and I deserved better. Life slowly began to improve. I returned to work, threw myself into my job, and reconnected with old friends. One night, my best friend Mike dragged me to a bar, insisting that I needed a night out. Reluctantly, I agreed. As we walked in, the atmosphere was electric. People were laughing, drinking, and dancing. For the first time in months, I felt a spark of excitement. Mike introduced me to some of his co-workers, and I found myself enjoying their company. I struck up a conversation with a woman named Sarah. She was smart, funny, and easy to talk to. We spent the entire evening chatting and laughing, and for the first time since the divorce, I felt a genuine connection with someone. Over the next few weeks, Sarah and I saw more of each other. We went on casual dates, enjoyed long walks, and talked about everything under the sun. She was aware of my recent divorce and was incredibly understanding and patient. It felt good to be with someone who respected my need for space and time to heal. One evening, as we were having dinner at my place, Sarah looked at me thoughtfully. "Jason, have you thought about what you want in the future? Not just in terms of relationships, but for yourself?" Her question caught me off guard. I had been so focused on surviving each day that I hadn't given much thought to the future. "I don't know," I admitted. "I guess I just want to find happiness again." Sarah smiled. "You will. It takes time, but you'll get there. Just remember to be kind to yourself." Her words stayed with me long after she left that night. I realized that I had been too hard on myself, blaming myself for things beyond my control. It was time to let go of the past and start focusing on what lay ahead. As months passed, I continued to work on myself. I picked up old hobbies, joined a gym, and even started taking cooking classes. My friends noticed the positive change in me and encouraged me every step of the way. One day, while going through my emails, I noticed a message from an unknown sender. The subject line read, "Important, please read." Curiosity piqued. I opened it. The email was from Alex. My heart raced as I read his words. He apologized for everything that had happened and admitted that his actions were inexcusable. He mentioned that Emma had broken off their affair and that he was dealing with the fallout in his own life. He asked for my forgiveness, though he acknowledged that he didn't deserve it. I stared at the screen for a long time, my emotions a tangled mess. Forgiveness was a difficult concept, but I realized that holding on to anger and resentment was only hurting me. After much contemplation, I decided to reply. Alex, I appreciate your apology. What you and Emma did caused me a great deal of pain, but holding on to that pain isn't helping anyone. I hope you find a way to move forward and become a better person. As for forgiveness, I don't think I'm there yet, but I wish you well. Jason. Hitting send, I felt a sense of relief. It was a small step towards healing, but it was significant. Life, as it turned out, had a way of surprising me. A year after my divorce, I found myself in a much better place. Sarah and I were still seeing each other, and our relationship had grown stronger. She had become my rock, supporting me through the ups and downs. One sunny afternoon, while we were hiking in a nearby park, Sarah turned to me with a smile. Jason, I know this might sound sudden, but how would you feel about moving in together? Her question took me by surprise, but it also filled me with a sense of warmth and hope. I'd like that, I replied, pulling her into a hug. As we walked hand in hand, I realized that life had a funny way of bringing people into your world when you least expected it. Emma's betrayal had shattered me, but it also led me to Sarah, who helped me rebuild my life. Looking back, I saw the journey I had been on, not just the pain and heartache, but the growth and resilience. It wasn't an easy path, but it had shaped me into a stronger, more compassionate person. To anyone going through a similar experience, know that there is hope. The road to recovery is long and winding, but it's worth it. Surround yourself with people who care, seek help when you need it, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. Life moves on, and so will you. Moving in with Sarah was a new chapter in my life. Her kindness and understanding helped me rebuild my shattered confidence. We spent countless evenings cooking together, exploring new recipes from the cooking classes we both enjoyed. Our shared moments became the foundation of our deepening bond. A few months after moving in together, we decided to take a trip to the mountains. It was a spontaneous decision, a break from our routines. We rented a cozy cabin, surrounded by towering pine trees and the tranquility of nature. The crisp mountain air was refreshing, a stark contrast to the emotional storm I had endured over the past year. One evening, as we sat by the fireplace sipping hot cocoa, Sarah turned to me with a serious expression. Jason, there's something I need to tell you. My heart skipped a beat. I had grown accustomed to the unpredictability of life, and my mind raced through worst-case scenarios. What is it, Sarah? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She took a deep breath. I've been offered a job opportunity in another state. It's a significant promotion, something I've worked hard for, but it means relocating. I was silent for a moment, processing her words. The thought of her leaving filled me with a sense of dread, but I also knew how important this was for her. That's amazing, Sarah, I finally said, managing a smile. You deserve it. She looked relieved, but still anxious. I don't want to lose what we have, Jason. I want you to come with me. Her words hit me like a wave of relief. I realized how deeply I cared for her and how much I wanted to be a part of her future. Of course, I'll go with you. We'll make it work. We spent the rest of the trip planning our move, excited about the new adventure that awaited us. It felt like a fresh start, a chance to leave the past behind and build a future together. The move went smoothly. We found a charming apartment in a vibrant neighborhood, filled with cafes, parks, and friendly neighbors. Sarah's new job kept her busy, but we made sure to spend quality time together. Our bond grew stronger, and for the first time in a long while, I felt genuinely happy. One weekend, while unpacking the last of our boxes, I came across an old journal of mine. Flipping through the pages, I found entries from the early days of my marriage to Emma. The memories were bittersweet, but as I read through my thoughts and feelings from that time, I realized how much I had grown since then. Sarah noticed my introspection and sat down beside me. "What's on your mind?" she asked gently. I handed her the journal. Just reflecting on the past, I said. It's amazing how much has changed. She read a few pages before looking up at me. You've been through a lot, Jason, but you're here now, and we have a future to look forward to. Her words were a reminder of how far I had come. The pain of the past was still there, but it no longer defined me. I had found someone who truly cared for me, and together we were building something beautiful. As the months passed, we settled into our new life. Sarah's job was demanding, but she excelled at it, earning the respect and admiration of her colleagues. I found a new job managing a local bookstore, a slower pace that allowed me to enjoy life more fully. One evening, as we were preparing dinner, Sarah turned to me with a mischievous smile. "I've been thinking," she said. "Maybe it's time we take the next step." I raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you mean?" She took my hand and led me to the living room, where she had set up a small table with candles and a bottle of champagne. "Jason, will you marry me?" I was stunned, my heart swelling with emotion. "Yes, Sarah, I will," I replied, pulling her into a tight embrace. The proposal was unconventional, but it was perfect for us. We had faced so much together, and her asking me to marry her felt like the culmination of our journey. We celebrated that night, toasting to our future and the love we had found. Planning the wedding was a joyful experience. We decided on a small, intimate ceremony with just our closest friends and family. The day was filled with laughter, love, and a few happy tears. As we exchanged vows, I felt a sense of peace and contentment that I hadn't felt in years. Life after the wedding was blissful. We continued to support each other through the ups and downs, always finding time to nurture our relationship. Sarah's parents welcomed me with open arms, and my own family adored her. We had created a new family, one built on trust, respect, and unconditional love. A year into our marriage, Sarah and I started talking about having children. It was a topic we approached with excitement and a bit of trepidation. Given my past, I wanted to ensure we were both ready for this new responsibility. One afternoon, while walking in the park, Sarah stopped and looked at me with a tender smile. "Jason, I'm pregnant." Tears of joy filled my eyes as I hugged her tightly. "That's amazing, Sarah. We're going to be parents." The news brought a new sense of purpose and excitement into our lives. We prepared for the arrival of our baby, turning the spare room into a nursery and reading every parenting book we could find. The months flew by, and before we knew it, we were welcoming our beautiful daughter Lily into the world. Holding Lily for the first time was a moment of pure magic. As I looked into her tiny, innocent eyes, I felt a profound sense of love and responsibility. Sarah and I were determined to provide her with a loving and nurturing home, one filled with the kind of joy and stability that had sometimes eluded us in our own lives. Parenthood was a new adventure, with its own set of challenges and rewards. Sleepless nights, endless diaper changes, and the constant worry about doing everything right became a part of our daily routine. But through it all, Sarah and I leaned on each other, sharing the load and finding joy in the little moments. As Lily grew, so did our bond as a family. She was a curious and spirited child, always exploring and learning. Watching her discover the world brought back a sense of wonder and excitement that I hadn't felt in years. One evening, as we were putting Lily to bed, Sarah turned to me with a smile. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" I nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "We have, and I wouldn't trade it for anything." Looking back on my journey, I realized that the pain and heartbreak I had endured had led me to where I was meant to be. Emma's betrayal had been a turning point, but it was also a catalyst for growth and transformation. It had pushed me to rebuild my life and find true happiness with Sarah. To anyone who has faced betrayal and loss, know that there is hope. Life has a way of surprising us, bringing new opportunities and unexpected joys when we least expect them. Surround yourself with people who love and support you, and never stop believing in the possibility of a brighter future. As I tucked Lily in and kissed her goodnight, I knew that I had finally found my place in the world. I had a loving wife, a beautiful daughter, and a future filled with endless possibilities. And for that, I was profoundly grateful. As the years passed, our family flourished. Lily grew into a bright and adventurous child, and Sarah and I cherished every moment with her. We navigated the ups and downs of parenthood together, always finding strength in each other's love and support. Our bond was unbreakable, forged through the trials we had faced and the deep affection we shared. One crisp autumn afternoon, Sarah and I decided to take Lily on a surprise trip to the amusement park. It was a place filled with laughter, excitement, and the kind of joy that only comes from being with those you love. As we wandered through the park, riding roller coasters and indulging in cotton candy, I felt a profound sense of contentment. As evening fell and the park began to light up with twinkling fairy lights, we found ourselves at the Ferris wheel. It was Lily's first time riding it, and her eyes sparkled with anticipation. We climbed into a carriage, and as it slowly ascended, the view of the park and the city beyond took our breath away. "Look, Daddy, we're so high up," Lily exclaimed, her little hands gripping the safety bar tightly. I smiled, holding her close. "Isn't it amazing, sweetheart?" Sarah leaned in, her warmth and presence a constant comfort. "This is perfect," she said softly. "Just the three of us, together." As we reached the top, the Ferris wheel paused, giving us a moment to take in the breathtaking view. The city lights stretched out before us, a sea of twinkling stars on the ground. It was in that moment that I realized how far I had come, from the depths of despair to the heights of happiness. Our life was not without its challenges. There were times when old wounds would resurface, memories of past pain and betrayal. But Sarah and I faced them together, always communicating openly and supporting each other through the hard times. Our love was a refuge, a safe harbor in the stormy seas of life. One day, while organizing some old files, I stumbled upon a letter from Emma. It was unopened, and the date indicated it had been sent shortly after our divorce. My heart pounded as I debated whether to read it. Finally, curiosity won over, and I carefully opened the envelope. The letter was a heartfelt apology, filled with regret and sorrow. Emma explained that she had undergone therapy and had come to realize the extent of the hurt she had caused. She wrote about her struggles and how she was working to become a better person. She didn't ask for forgiveness, but wanted me to know that she was genuinely sorry. Reading her words brought back a flood of memories, but it also provided a sense of closure. I realized that holding on to anger and resentment only hurt me. It was time to let go completely, to truly move forward. That evening, I shared the letter with Sarah. She listened quietly, holding my hand. "How do you feel about it?" she asked gently. "I think I'm ready to forgive," I said, surprising myself with the truth of my words. "Not for her sake, but for mine. I need to let go." Sarah smiled, her eyes filled with understanding. "That's a big step, Jason. I'm proud of you." We decided to write a response to Emma together, a letter filled with forgiveness and compassion. It was a way to close that chapter of my life and focus entirely on the beautiful life I had built with Sarah and Lily. Years went by, and our family continued to grow in love and joy. Lily blossomed into a talented young girl with a passion for art and a heart full of kindness. She was our pride and joy, and we supported her in every endeavor. One summer, we decided to take a family trip to Europe. It was a dream of ours, and we wanted Lily to experience different cultures and histories. We visited Paris, Rome, and Barcelona, each city leaving us in awe with its beauty and charm. In Paris, we climbed the Eiffel Tower and marveled at the panoramic views of the city. In Rome, we explored ancient ruins and tossed coins into the Trevi fountain, making wishes for a bright future. And in Barcelona, we wandered through the whimsical Park Güell, delighting in the vibrant colors and unique architecture. The trip was magical, filled with laughter, exploration, and the deep connection that only comes from shared experiences. As we stood on a hill overlooking the Mediterranean Sea, Sarah turned to me with a smile. "This is everything I ever dreamed of, Jason. I'm so grateful for our life together." I pulled her close, feeling the warmth of her love. "Me too, Sarah. Me too." As Lily ran ahead, chasing butterflies and giggling with delight, I realized that life had come full circle. The pain of the past had given way to a future filled with love, hope, and endless possibilities. Back home, our lives settled into a comfortable rhythm. Sarah's career continued to thrive, and my bookstore became a beloved community hub. We hosted book readings, writing workshops, and even started a book club. It was a labor of love, and seeing the joy it brought to others filled me with a deep sense of fulfillment. One evening, as we were closing up the store, Sarah handed me a wrapped package. "I have something for you," she said, her eyes twinkling with excitement. I unwrapped it to find a beautifully bound journal. "What's this?" I asked, curious. It's a new beginning, she said. A place for you to write your story, our story. I thought it might be time to put your thoughts and feelings into words. I was touched by her thoughtfulness. Writing had always been a way for me to process my emotions, and the idea of documenting our journey was appealing. Thank you, Sarah. This means a lot. Over the next few months, I poured my heart into that journal, recounting the highs and lows of my life. It was a cathartic process, one that helped me see how far I had come and how much I had grown. One day, as I was writing in the journal, Lily came into the room. "What are you doing, Daddy?" I smiled at her curiosity. "I'm writing about our family, sweetheart, about all the wonderful adventures we've had." Her eyes lit up. "Can I read it someday?" "Of course," I said, pulling her onto my lap. "One day, when you're older, you can read all about it." She hugged me tightly. "I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, Lily." Life continued to move forward, each day bringing new joys and challenges. Our family faced them together, always stronger for having each other. Looking back, I realized that the journey I had been on was not just about overcoming betrayal and heartache. It was about finding my true self, learning to love and trust again, and building a life filled with meaning and joy. Emma's betrayal had been a catalyst for change, pushing me to rebuild and find true happiness. It had led me to Sarah, to our beautiful daughter, and to a future I could never have imagined. To anyone going through a similar experience, know that there is hope. Life has a way of surprising us, bringing new opportunities and unexpected joys when we least expect them. Surround yourself with people who love and support you, and never stop believing in the possibility of a brighter future. As I closed the journal and put it away, I felt a deep sense of peace. The past was behind me, and the future was bright. I had a loving wife, a beautiful daughter, and a life filled with endless possibilities. And for that, I was profoundly grateful. Life continued to surprise us in wonderful ways. As the years went by, our family grew closer, our love deepened, and our bond became unbreakable. Lily was blossoming into a young woman with talents and passions that filled our home with joy and laughter. Sarah and I cherished each moment, knowing how precious and fleeting time could be. One evening, as we were preparing dinner together, Lily came into the kitchen with a serious expression on her face. "Mom, Dad, can we talk?" she asked, her voice tinged with nervousness. "Of course, sweetheart," Sarah said, wiping her hands on a towel and motioning for Lily to sit at the kitchen table. "What's on your mind?" Lily took a deep breath, her eyes shifting between us. "There's something I need to tell you both. I've been accepted into a study abroad program in Italy for my senior year." Sarah and I exchanged surprised but proud glances. "That's incredible, Lily," I said, feeling a mix of excitement and the inevitable pang of knowing our little girl was growing up. "When do you leave?" "In a few months," Lily replied, a smile breaking across her face. "It's a year-long program, and I'll get to study art and history in Florence." Sarah hugged her tightly. "We're so proud of you, Lily. This is an amazing opportunity." The months leading up to Lily's departure were a whirlwind of preparations. We helped her with the application process, secured her visa, and made sure she had everything she needed for her year abroad. It was a bittersweet time, filled with excitement for her new adventure and the melancholy of knowing we would miss her terribly. The day finally arrived, and we took Lily to the airport. As we hugged her goodbye, I couldn't help but feel a lump in my throat. "Take care of yourself, Lily. We love you so much," I said, my voice breaking. "I love you too, Dad," she replied, tears in her eyes. "I'll call and write all the time, I promise." Watching her walk through the security gates, I felt a mixture of pride and sadness. Our little girl was off to explore the world, and though it was difficult to let go, I knew this experience would be life-changing for her. Back at home, the house felt strangely quiet without Lily's presence. Sarah and I adjusted to our new routine, filling our days with work, hobbies, and time spent together. We missed Lily dearly, but her regular calls and emails kept us connected to her journey. One evening, while Sarah and I were enjoying a quiet dinner, my phone rang. It was Lily, and I could hear the excitement in her voice. "Dad, I have some news!" "What's up, Lily?" I asked, curious. "I've met someone," she said, her voice bubbling with joy. "His name is Marco, and he's studying architecture. We've been spending a lot of time together, and he's wonderful." I could hear Sarah's curiosity peeking beside me. Tell us more about him, Sarah said, leaning in. Lily went on to describe Marco, a kind, passionate young man with a love for art and history, much like her. They had met in one of her classes and quickly bonded over their shared interests. As she spoke, I could hear the happiness in her voice, and it warmed my heart. Sounds like you're having an amazing time, Lily, I said. We can't wait to meet Marco when you come home. As the year went by, Sarah and I visited Lily in Florence. We met Marco and instantly saw the connection between them. He was respectful, intelligent, and genuinely cared for our daughter. Seeing Lily so happy and thriving in her new environment was all we could have hoped for. Returning home, Sarah and I reflected on how far we had come. Our journey had been filled with unexpected twists and turns, but it had led us to a place of deep contentment and love. We continued to nurture our relationship, always finding ways to grow together. One spring day, Sarah came to me with a thoughtful expression. "Jason, there's something I've been thinking about," she said. "What's that?" I asked, curious. She took my hand. "What do you think about us starting a foundation? Something to help families and individuals who have gone through betrayal and loss, like we did. We could offer counseling, support groups, and resources to help them rebuild their lives." I was moved by her idea. "That sounds incredible, Sarah. I think it could make a real difference." We spent the next few months planning and organizing the foundation, pouring our hearts into its mission. We called it Hope Renewed, and its purpose was to provide a safe space for people to heal and find the strength to move forward. Through workshops, therapy sessions, and community events, we aimed to help others find hope and rebuild their lives. Launching Hope Renewed was a rewarding experience. We met countless individuals who shared their stories of pain and recovery, and we saw firsthand the impact of our work. It was a way for us to give back and to use our experiences to help others. Our lives continued to be filled with love and purpose. Lily graduated with honors and decided to stay in Italy for a few more years, pursuing a career in art restoration. She and Marco remained inseparable, and we were thrilled to see their relationship flourish. Sarah and I celebrated each anniversary with gratitude for the journey we had been on. We traveled, explored new hobbies, and cherished the quiet moments at home. Our love was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of betrayal, it is possible to find joy and fulfillment. One evening, as we sat on our porch watching the sunset, Sarah turned to me with a smile. "Do you remember the first time we met?" I nodded, a smile tugging at my lips. "How could I forget? You walked into that bar, and I knew my life was about to change." She laughed softly. "I knew it too. And look at us now. We've built a beautiful life together, Jason." I took her hand, feeling a surge of love and gratitude. "We have, Sarah, and I wouldn't change a thing." As the sun dipped below the horizon, I reflected on the journey that had brought us here. It had been filled with heartache and healing, challenges and triumphs. But through it all, love had been our guiding light, leading us to a place of profound happiness and fulfillment. To anyone facing betrayal and loss, know that there is hope. Life has a way of bringing unexpected blessings, even in the darkest times. Surround yourself with love, seek out support, and never stop believing in the possibility of a brighter future. Sarah and I had found our way through the storm, and now we stood together, stronger than ever. Our journey was a testament to the power of love, resilience, and the unwavering belief that life, no matter how challenging, always has the potential for beauty and joy. Life had settled into a comforting routine, and the foundation, Hope Renewed, was thriving. We saw firsthand the impact we were making, helping others navigate the painful journey of betrayal and loss, just as we had. It was deeply fulfilling work. One day, we received an invitation that would change everything. Lily and Marco were getting married. They had spent several wonderful years together in Italy, and their love had only grown stronger. Sarah and I were thrilled. The wedding was planned for the picturesque Tuscan countryside, a dream setting that mirrored the fairy tale of their relationship. The preparations for the wedding were a whirlwind of excitement. Sarah and I flew to Italy a few weeks early to help with the final arrangements. We stayed in a charming villa surrounded by rolling vineyards and olive groves. It was the perfect place for reflection and celebration. The day of the wedding dawned bright and clear. As I walked Lily down the aisle, I couldn't help but feel a swell of pride and joy. She looked radiant, and Marco's eyes shone with love as he watched her approach. The ceremony was beautiful, filled with heartfelt vows and the promise of a bright future. During the reception, I took a moment to step outside and take it all in. The sky was painted with the warm hues of sunset, and the sound of laughter and music filled the air. Sarah joined me, slipping her hand into mine. "We did good, didn't we?" she said, her eyes misty with emotion. "We did," I replied, pulling her close. "We've come a long way." As the evening progressed, we danced under the stars, surrounded by friends and family. It was a night filled with love, joy, and the promise of new beginnings. When we returned home, life continued to be filled with purpose and love. Hope Renewed expanded, offering more services and reaching more people in need. We took pride in the work we did, knowing it was making a real difference. One evening, Sarah and I were sitting on our porch, reminiscing about the past and dreaming about the future. "There's something I've been thinking about," Sarah said, a twinkle in her eye. "What's that?" I asked, curious. "How about we travel the world?" she suggested. "We've always talked about it, and now seems like the perfect time." I smiled at the thought. That sounds like an incredible adventure. And so, we began planning our travels. We visited places we had always dreamed of, exploring the ancient ruins of Greece, wandering through the bustling markets of Marrakesh, and marveling at the natural beauty of New Zealand. Each destination brought new experiences and deepened our bond. Our travels were more than just a journey around the world. They were a journey within ourselves. We grew closer, understanding each other in ways we hadn't before. We met incredible people, experienced different cultures, and saw the world with fresh eyes. One evening, while watching the sunset on a beach in Bali, Sarah turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Jason, do you ever think about the path that led us here?" "All the time," I replied. "It's amazing how life works out. We've been through so much, but it brought us to this moment." She nodded, a smile spreading across her face. "I wouldn't change a thing." Our travels eventually brought us back home, where we continued to pour our hearts into Hope Renewed. We shared our experiences with those we helped, showing them that there is always hope and new adventures waiting, even after the darkest times. Years passed, and we watched as Lily and Marco started their own family. We became doting grandparents, filling our days with the laughter and joy of our grandchildren. Life was rich and full, a testament to the journey we had been on. One day, as we sat on our porch, now older and grayer, Sarah took my hand. "Jason, do you remember the promise we made to each other all those years ago?" "Which one?" I asked, smiling. "That no matter what, we would always find our way back to each other," she said softly. "I remember," I replied, squeezing her hand gently. And we did. We always did. As we watched the sunset, I reflected on the incredible journey of our lives. From the pain of betrayal to the joy of new beginnings, we had built a life filled with love, resilience, and endless possibilities. Our story was a testament to the power of hope and the unwavering belief that, no matter what, life has the potential for beauty and joy. And as we sat there side by side, I knew that our love had been the greatest adventure of all.